Howdy, you beautiful Bayou Bandits. This is going to be the best solo meta loadout in Hunt Showdown 1896. And I should preface by saying that this will cost a lot of money because meta, being some of the best guns, obviously have a high price tag. I would like to announce that I am doing a DLC giveaway over on my streams. So here on screen is all of the details and pros and cons of each platform. I multi-stream to Kick, Twitch, and YouTube, but I would like to kindly ask if you guys could watch over on Kick. The main reason is because it is very pro creator and offers the partnership program, which would offer me an hourly pay. That would be a very big step in the right direction for me as a content creator, as this is my full-time gig. And yeah, that would genuinely help me a ton. So please give it a look. If you haven't tried out Kick, I guarantee you will be surprised and like it a lot more than you thought you would have. A lot of people from my Twitch are trying it out and loving it so far. So if you guys are interested in watching the gameplay live, come by one of the streams and say hi. Big disclaimer, I'm going to be spending the next 10 to 12 minutes explaining this whole entire loadout, my philosophy behind why I am taking everything that I am taking, showing you all of the traits. If you guys do not want to watch or listen to this portion, then go to this timestamp. I understand a lot of you guys want super quick intros, quickly going over the loadout, not spending too much time, but for the beginners, that is what this portion is catered to, the people who don't understand my loadout philosophy and why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I highly recommend you guys listening to this whole entire portion, as there is a lot of value to be had, even for people who aren't necessarily beginners. Also, leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy any of this type of content. Thank you guys very much. So starting off with the Mosin coming in at $713 hunt dollars, it's doing a whopping 136 damage. Now, obviously the Mosin is one of the best guns in all of Hunt Showdown, but this loadout specifically is boasting its sniper scope. Its sniper scope is the highest magnification from any of the scoped weapons in the game, and this is going to provide us very good coverage at a very far distance. So first off, we want to make sure that we cover at least 2 of the 3 distances that you can cover in this game. And I like to call that long range, medium, and short. Obviously, something like a shotgun is going to cover your short ranges very well, and then your snipers and scoped weapons are going to cover your long range. I consider anything that's a rifle, pistols, to be your medium ranges. Obviously, some are better than others at covering each range, but those are 3 of the ranges that you are going to want to account for when making a loadout in Hunt Showdown. And I believe a lot of people don't really put too much effort into making this synergize and covering the correct distances or ranges. Quartermaster is a nice trait that gives you the ability to cover at least 2 of these ranges. And if you're using a gun like the Haymaker that has different modes, so you have a shotgun and a rifle in the same gun, then those can cover potentially 2 of those 3 distances just by that gun alone. So essentially, our sniper is going to be taking complete care of that long range distance if we need it, even a little bit of the medium range distance, of course, because you can use a sniper scope very effectively at, let's say, 50 to 100 meters. It doesn't need to just be 200 meters away. So our 3rd distance is completely covered with this sniper, and might I add, I believe it's the best sniper in the game. And I personally don't like Spitzer because I use a variety of guns. I have a hard time learning the distances to lead, the bullet drop, and all of that stuff in one package. I'm not a big fan of Spitzer. However, it is a very, very good ammo type. You guys probably should be using it if you're going to use the Mosin sniper, but I also don't bring an ammo box in this loadout, so it's not as easy for me to get ammo if I was to go the Spitzer route. So I'm using regular ammo, especially because my second gun that we'll talk about in a quick second doesn't have the availability of Spitzer, so I can't pair it with that and get extra ammo. So now you know why I'm taking the sniper. Let's talk about our secondary. Coming in at $379 hunt dollars, we have the Haymaker, which does 122 damage, so it will not one-tap an enemy that has already been downed to the upper torso, but it is a very effective and efficient weapon in Hunt Showdown. This is one of the weapons I was referencing earlier when I was talking about covering 2 of those 3 distances. This is a long ammo pistol that also has a shotgun barrel. So we are completely covering that medium range distance at a very, very effective rate. And we are covering that short range distance because we have a shotgun shell in our pistol. And since it's a bigger pistol and has a little bit longer of a barrel, it's actually going to be slightly better than the regular LeMat pistol when it comes to the shotgun portion, at least. So like I said, the long range, medium range, and short range is completely covered in this loadout. There are other options that you can do in this game to be able to cover all 3 of those distances. However, for a solo, I don't think it gets any better than this loadout, especially like I talked about a little bit ago. If you're not using Spitzer in your primary, the Mosin sniper, then you have a bunch of ammo in reserve to be using and shooting at your own will. So that was kind of a long explanation of why I am using these two guns in tandem, but overall, that's my thought process and a good overview of these two weapons. Then recently, I have been using throwing axes for 50 hunt dollars. You get 3 of them now. They used to only give you 2, but they're very, very solid, allowing us to take care of horses, cows, throwing them at hives or potentially even some armoreds. It's a very, very good melee utility, and I definitely recommend it going forward. And for the people who are curious, I think that they are better than throwing knives now. Then for 30 hunt dollars, giving us the first aid kit. Obviously, this is a non-negotiable. Everybody needs to have these in their loadout. Don't really need to talk about it outside of it giving you 50 HP and 3 uses. Then for 63 hunt dollars, we have the penny shot Derringer. In this game, I was using a contraband one, so I didn't have to pay for it, but it is a very, very solid pocket shotty. It comes with 2 shots. You can shoot in succession with it. It's a very good last resort that can one tap up to 5 meters. So like I said, it's a good last resort, and it's actually a very good utility as well. You guys can shoot this at immolators and it will not explode them. You can also open barred doors by shooting this one time. In my opinion, it's a little overpowered, but let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below about the penny shot Derringer. And then we have the trusty decoy fuses for an extra 30 hunt dollars. This, in my opinion, is the most underrated tool in the game. It acts as a dynamite, but it is not a dynamite. It's a fake dynamite. And when you throw it, it can push out people from corners, buildings, inside of rooms and things like that. It'll move them around. They don't know that it's a fake dynamite most of the time. However, pro tip here, there is an audible difference. If you play a lot with these, you can learn when people are throwing them at you because, like I said, there's an audible difference. This doesn't do a lot of damage, but it does do a little. So make sure you're not standing on top of it if you end up pushing after you throw it into a room. It can also get rid of concertina and break window shutters, and that just adds to the utility use for the decoy fuses. Then for the tools, we have 2 weak vitalities coming in at 20 hunt dollars a piece, 40 for this single slot. These are amazing for me personally. I use 50 chunks, as you can see right above my head right here. And as long as I'm above 25 HP on this bar, I can take these and effectively get my health all the way to the 3rd bar, and it just works so well. The use time is 1.12 seconds instead of the big vitalities 1.8 or something like that. It's almost 2 seconds. So you save almost a second by using these, and it does 75 HP. Like I said, if you're rocking these health bars, it's a pretty good deal, and I definitely recommend taking weak vitalities instead of vitalities in general. Then for 100 hunt dollars, we have the stamina shot, which is absolutely essential when playing a bounty hunt game, in my personal opinion. The stamina system in this game is not very good, and even though we have a few stamina related traits, I still recommend bringing it so you can take it whenever you need to. Then the last consumable we have for 105 hunt dollars is the regeneration shot. This is very, very nice to take and have 7 minutes of health regeneration. You literally don't have to do anything and your health will passively regenerate. It's very nice. Get behind cover. You don't have to end up using your vitalities unless you are in a pickle or desperately need to, of course. But the regeneration shot is S tier. I would definitely recommend it, especially for a solo that's using a meta loadout. Definitely take the regeneration shot and not the weak ones. I understand a few people like to say that the 2 weak regeneration shots is better than the 1 big one. However, I think if you're a solo and you take 1 big regeneration shots, pairing it with the 2 weak fatalities, I think that that's the better way to go. Usually when you're solo, you don't have a bunch of time to let the regeneration go. So only having 1 regeneration shot, in my opinion, that's a big one, is not the biggest deal in the world. Having the 2 weak fatalities is honestly, in my personal opinion, more important than the regeneration shot. You have to think that by the time the team hits you, decides to push you and stuff, you probably aren't going to have that much time to let the regeneration completely do its job. So instead of having 2 slots that's all regeneration and just completely believing that that's going to always work, where you can just go behind cover and heal yourself up passively, that's not the case. So the weak vitalities, taking 2 of those is very, very essential. And since I'm only going to have 1 potential extra slot outside of these 3, I'm taking a big regeneration shot. It's worth the money. And the philosophy behind what I just said, I think makes a lot of sense. So I did preface by saying that this loadout was going to be expensive, obviously because it's meta, but this loadout comes to a total of 1,510 hunt dollars. Then when we're talking about some of the essential traits for this loadout that I believe you need to have, we are starting off with Necromancer, which comes in at 4 upgrade points. This is going to allow us to revive as a solo after we have been downed. I believe it's 5 seconds after being down. You can then revive, and this gives you a boss banish, meaning that all of your health will be back. But yes, Necromancer is the most important solo trait to take, and is very, very good. So make sure you guys are taking it. The next essential trait is going to be Magpie, and this isn't only for this specific loadout. This is just in general if you're playing solo, but it will allow you to hold up to 10 seconds of dark sight after picking up a bounty token, and it'll also give you 2.5 minutes of antidote, stamina, and regeneration once you pick those bounty tokens up. Something else to note is that you will get 2 dark sight scans back if you loot an enemy hunter or pick up a clue in a different contract area. So if you picked up one bounty and the other one wasn't banished and you went to that area in search of clues and then you got one of those clues, you would get 2 seconds of dark sight just for picking up that clue. It's a hidden effect that not a lot of people know about for Magpie, but it's a good one. Then for 6 upgrade points, this is the most essential trait for this specific loadout. You cannot have this loadout without this trait, and that is going to be the best trait in the game, Quartermaster. Quartermaster is going to allow you to have a large slot paired with a medium slot. So this haymaker is a medium slot, of course. As you can see, it has 2 of the 3 squares filled in right there, and then this one has 3 of 3. That's because it's a large slot, and then this is a medium slot. And typically without Quartermaster, we would only be able to have a small slot paired with a large slot. So it is very effective, very good. It comes in at 6 upgrade points and is, in my opinion, the best trait in the game. Then, since we are sniping, steady aim is going to gradually reduce the sway of the weapon when we are aiming down sight. So this is very, very nice as a sniper build. I definitely recommend this, and this is 2 upgrade points. And then for another 2 upgrade points, we have Scopesmith, and this is essential in my personal opinion. You should be taking this if your sniper, your marksman, or your Deadeye has multiple shots in its magazine. If it's something like a Sparks or a Maynard, then this actually is rendered useless, so never take Scopesmith. But overall, these are 2 of the scoped traits, and I definitely recommend taking both of them when you're using this specific loadout. And then, not super important to this loadout, but I will go over the few extra traits we have. Greyhound is going to let us sprint at full speed for a longer duration. This actually is very, very nice and lets us go very far on the map before we run out of stamina. And it's just good in case you don't have any stamina going or you already used your shots. Comes in at 2 upgrade points and is a very, very good trait for the price. Then we have Vulture, which is going to allow us to get money every time we loot an enemy hunter. Usually you won't get paid money unless you loot a hunter with your tools and consumable slots all being full. It's actually a good way to make extra money. It's only 2 upgrade points and definitely worth taking if you guys are interested in making lots of dough. And then we have Dauntless, which is one of my favorite traits in the game. It's going to allow us to defuse throwables. So somebody's throwing a dynamite at us, a grenade, something like that. As long as we can interact with it, we can defuse it. It's only 1 upgrade point. It's definitely one of the pro tip type of traits, but I definitely recommend everybody in the game to start using it because it is going to take a little bit of time to get used to, and it is very solid. Then the next trait for 5 upgrade points is going to be Conduit, and as a solo we are going to get a buff. This is going to give us 2 of the 3 clues from each contract if we get 1 clue, and it is going to show us the progression of the map. So since we get the 2 clues, it'll show us 2 stages into the boss search, which is very, very nice. Also, since it's giving us 2 clues for each one that we grab, it is going to give us 6 minutes of stamina. Normally it would give you 3 minutes for one, but they buffed it the last update, so it does give solos 6 minutes of stamina for each clue they pick up. Something else to note is that it actually does heal you for about 50 HP. So if you got hit by a zombie right before you're grabbing the clue or something, just go grab this and it'll top you off. Frontiersman is another trait for 5 upgrade points that I have, and this just gives you 1 extra use of each of your tools. So since, like I said, the throwing axes have 3 uses, we will have 4 since we have that trait. Since we usually got 3 med kits, we are now having 4. The Penny Shot Derringer is actually going to get 2 more shots into it, so that's another thing. And then the decoy fuses is going to have 4 instead of 3. Then the last trait we have is Bulwark, and this is just a throw on trait. It's a solid one. I don't recommend taking it absolutely every game. It's not like a S tier trait in my personal opinion, but it does reduce explosive damage that you take. So somebody using an explosive crossbow or something like that, you're not going to take as much damage. That's the loadout. These are the traits. Let's get into the game and I'll see you in the bayou. An hour, I think that's kind of scum, but if it's just, you know, the bare minimum, Coyote, thank you very much for following over on Kick, man. How we doing, Coyote? Found you on Kick first, then followed your others. Oh, did you, Filth? Okay, so Filth is the first one, technically. I misunderstood that. I misunderstood that. I thought you were saying that you came from my other platforms. Shit. Oh, there's 2 teams. Okay. Solomon, thank you very much for following, dude. Thank you very much. But yeah, long story short, Twitch is not paying much for ads anymore. What did he just shoot me with? Vault, 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 vault! How are the donos? On Kick? On Kick, it's Stream Elements. On Kick, it's Stream Elements. So Stream Elements is like 95.5 or 100% to the creator. Stream Elements is on my YouTube, my Twitch, and my Kick. So the donos are exclusively through Stream Elements. That has nothing to do with any of the platforms. He just shot me with flechette. In case you guys are curious, I'm not a great sniper. I regularly get way too close to the fights. I don't play patiently enough to be a good sniper. And my aim is not immaculate. So when it comes to this, I'm kind of putting myself in a bad position. That's why I'm moving out of the compound. How does Twitch take for donos? How much does Twitch take for donos? They don't take anything because it's not... I think there is a tipping thing for Twitch exclusively, but I don't think most people use it because they do take a percent. Like Twitch takes so much, 50-50 of your revenue. Like just think of this. You guys pay for a certain amount of gifted subs, right? And it's, let's just say it's $30. I don't know. Let's say it's $30. Twitch gets half of it every time. Every time Twitch gets half of the money. The only reason it doesn't get half of the money is if you're doing it to a creator who has 300 sub points a month, which is not easy, by the way. That's really hard. So they're already making Twitch a bunch of money. And then they're like, okay, you're making us a lot of money, that now you can get 20 extra % of your money. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't think I'm gonna be able to move over here. Operation switch from Twitch to Kick. I'm not trying to get everybody to move from Twitch. I have a good community on Twitch. I genuinely enjoy Twitch overall, but as far as the financials go, Twitch is abysmal. No, 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 no. Get the fuck out of my lobby, Buster. I run this town. This is my house. He fell down. Three deaths, Buster. All good. It's light. Push me, please. I'm confused what you're talking about, Glenn. He fell down. He's still up. This feels like revive bolts all over again. That looks like a heady. Oh, that looks like a heady. Yeah, no, Twitch robs, bro. However, Twitch has a better reputation, so that's why it gets so many uses, right? Most of the people on Twitch wish they were using Kick, okay? Who wouldn't want a 95.5 rev split with no ads? And have no ads? That's insane. That's insane. See you tomorrow. All right, Jesse, I'm on holiday, so my internet is kind of ass. I gotta hop off, but tomorrow I'll be back. Jesse, I really appreciate you stopping by, boss, man. Thank you very much, bro. Have a good rest of your day, man. Have a good rest of your day.
His name is John.
Oh no. Oh no. Not Johnny boy. Uppercut versus upper mat? Probably the upper mat. But you gotta have quartermaster if you want a useful loadout with uppercut or upper mat, of course. We got Nostalgic. Thank you very much, boss man, for following. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's go again. Let's go again. I don't have another med kit. Think they should buff the Haymaker? Hell no. What's up, Nostalgic? How we doing? Haymaker's my gun. It's a good one. They should not buff the Haymaker, no. Headshot. Let's go. Why is it not letting me open the door? You guys see this? I've never seen that. I've never seen that in this game. It's a new bug. It's funny. Oh, I have no medkits. Buff chaos bolts? You didn't even say GG's. Wow. Wow, I'm offended, actually. Wow. We're not buffing chaos bolts. I need a medkit. That was very nice. Thank you, brother. You just looked. Wouch. Wouch, wouch, wouch. I need some more medkits, chat. Only having one? Not very ideal. Buff blank decoys? GG's. I was just messing with you, beautiful. I appreciate you. I miss you. Buff revive bolts? Exactly, bro. Okay, we got some people coming over. Nice, nice, nice. Did I loot this other dude? Actually, I think I did. One. That chaos is going to drive them closer, so that is a good thing. That's one use where it's good, right? They probably would have waited, but they are now moving across the open area that I want them to move through because of the chaos bolt or the chaos bomb. However, this might be an easy target. I don't know how that's not a hit. He's got sparks, decent reload. Well, I hope that is not Ali or Ollie. That would be very unfortunate. Didn't want to open because you weren't using the Nagant. True, 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 true. Good point, yeah. Didn't think about that. Nice. See if I can't get an angle right here. It's kind of a dirty one sometimes. Is there a med kit right there? Daily's done. Time to hop on hunt. Nice. Okay. Can you talk proximity chat went down? I think? No, actually, I'm not sure. Oh, was that not a headshot when he was vaulting? I don't know. I don't know, bro. I fucked up. Need a nice toolbox is what I need. Reload. I guess I should. I do have 17 bullets, but I didn't want to make this full, so I had extra ammo in the haymaker, but that's kind of just being stupid. Mad props for this team not leaving, though. God damn it. Should kill. No. Oh my God! Here's the sparks. Have to wait until I'm full HP and make sure that he doesn't get his buddy up. Get the f out of my lobby! Ah, let's go, chat. Let's go. Yeah, baby. That's good. Eddie, he daddy.